Hello everybody and welcome to this tutorial. My name is Hampton. I'm a developer advocate at IBM and I'm going to show you how to deploy your application to IBM Cloud Foundry using GitHub Actions. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump into it. So the first thing I'm going to do is come over to this repository on GitHub. It is IBM Developer UK. And it is deployed to IBM Cloud with GitHub Actions. Now this repository is just a very simple, empty, plain repository ready to start your tutorial. And the first thing we want to go and do is fork it. Don't worry, this is going to be available for, this link will be available after or at the end of this workshop for you. So you can go and copy this and do this yourself. Fantastic. So you can straight away see that this has been forked into my personal GitHub directory. And this will allow me to manipulate it myself without interfering with the main branch in IBM Developer UK. So let's just go ahead and clone this one. So we're going to go to clone and click on the copy to clipboard. I am going to cd into a directory on my local machine, which I will clone this into. I am then going to go into this directory and I will open this up in VS Code. Please don't judge me for the amount of windows I have open at the bottom of my screen. I can't help it. So what we're going to do is go over to here. We can just move this one out of the way. We're not going to use that terminal now. And let's go and open up a new terminal inside this. So as we can see, we are inside the project directory. Make this one full screen. So what we're going to do from here is we are just going to open up the main.go file. You can see there's some boilerplate code for a hello world. Let's clear that one. And let's go and make sure we can run that and get out hello world. Fantastic. So we can see that that is actually all working. So now we've got this all working, it's all on our machine. We want to go and create an API key in IBM Cloud. So this API key will actually be used for the pipeline later on. And what we can do is you just sign into your dashboard over here. If you haven't already got an IBM Cloud, then sign up to IBM Cloud Lite tier. It is free and you get access to a whole bunch of services in IBM Cloud. Next, I want to go to Manage and I'm going to go to IAM. So this is access for your users. I want to go over to API keys. I'm going to create a new API key and I'm going to call it a, let's just say GitHub Actions demo. And I hope I don't have one that's already there. I'm going to click create. I'm going to copy that one and I'm going to store it. And I'm going to store it in a new text file somewhere where you guys cannot see it. Haha. And if I would like that one to open, I don't know where that is. It's done something. It's fine. I will copy that. I will paste that somewhere. So from here, we can now go to our code. And what we'll do is create a simple Go application. Now I need to take this off my clipboard, so I'm going to post it into a note. So for a Go application, we're just going to create a simple HTTP server, and I've got some boilerplate code here which I'm just going to drop in. Okay, so I'm going to be quite naughty and I'm going to skip over a test for this. As you can see, I've got main_test go in the directory over here, but for this demo, I'm just going to skip over that and I'm just going to run a simple HTTP server. So I've got some boilerplate code which I'm just going to drop in and I will walk you through it, do not worry. So up here we've got the package main. So every Go program will have a main package to it, and this is where the main function will live. This is where the first point of call comes for your application. What we've got here is a server. So these lines here, lines 10 to 14, is just creating a server and it's listening on port 8080. I've got a root, which is a home root, and it is a slash. So this is just like Node Express, if you've ever used that, very similar concept. And we have a function called home, and this is just going to print out a message and return it as a string. Sorry, not a string, a byte. And it's going to print it out in sprintf, and sprintf is just a format that returns a string without printing it anywhere itself. So if we do go run main.go, let's just allow this one. So now this is up and running on port 8080. So if we go to here and we go to host, oh, I cannot type 3000, that's not 3000, we want 8080. Fantastic, so that is working. So we can see here, this is what we've output over here, as opposed to what is in our code over here. So it is printing out, this is a test for GitHub Actions. Fantastic, that is now all working. So now it's working, we can go and stop that. We'll want to do Control-C, and that will jump out of that one. Just to mention, this can actually be written in any language of your choice, providing there is a build pack in Cloud Foundry for your application. So Node.js or Python or Go, for example, Java, it's all supported. I'll send a link in the document, so I'll make sure there's a link with this video along with the repository that I am using. So the next step of this is to actually deploy this to IBM Cloud Foundry. Now we're going to do this manually, and we just need to log into the into the IBM Cloud through the CLI. So we're going to clear this, and you will need to download this. I must mention you do need to download IBM Cloud CLI and the Cloud Foundry plugin associated with it. Again, this is all in the documentation actually for this tutorial, but I will just do IBM Cloud login, and because I have a federated ID, I need to do SSO. Let's go and open this up in a browser. Just add my one-time passcode. I will copy that one, close that one, and I will drop it into my terminal over here. Fantastic, so I'm authenticated. I'm going to stick it in my number one. Let's do an update. Let's not do an update because we do not want to break anything here. So as you can see, I'm into IBM Cloud CLI, but I'm not actually associated or haven't actually targeted any resource group or Cloud Foundry endpoint or org or space or any of that kind of stuff. So for now, we will just run the next couple of commands to do exactly that. So let's have a look at the regions. And we can do that by doing IBM Cloud regions. And this will list all of the regions available to me. So we've got all the way from Sydney to Sao Paulo, all across the world. A region is just a data center or a cluster of data centers in a specific area in the world. So now we want to pick your region. So wherever your application is, you want it to be running as close to you as possible. And to do that, we are just going to target. So for me, I am currently in London, so I'm going to use EU-GB. But again, wherever you are in the world, just do it closest to you. You'll have less latency, less lag, since you're not sort of trying to ping across the world. So to do that, we want to do IBM Cloud target. We want the -R flag, and then type in your region. So for me, it's going to be EU-GB. And then we can see here that we have the region up here. I mean, it may have already been specified. Yeah, it was already specified there, but hey, the more you know, hey. Next, we want to target the, what do we want to target? Yep, we want to target our resource group because we don't have one here. As you can see here, we're going to use this command, and it's going to be IBM Cloud, and we're going to target, if I can type, I'm going to use a -G flag this time, and for me it is just going to be default, and I can assume it might be default for you as well. Fantastic, so now you can see our resource group is set to default. The last thing we need to do is target Cloud Foundry because that is actually where we are putting our application. So you do IBM Cloud target --F. For me, I'm going to use the dev space. If you have more than one, it may pop up like this. Just choose it, choose your specified space. I'm going to use dev, but if you have multiple, then just choose the one that you want. Fantastic. So now we can see all these information when you log in. Cool. Now I have IBM Cloud, I'm logged in with my CLI. Let's just go ahead and if you were to install the Cloud Foundry plugin and you don't have it, this is the command that you'd write. You'd IBM Cloud CF install. Now I do have the plugin, so I'm not going to do that. But now we can just go over and look at our manifest YAML, which is provided in the repository itself. It is empty, so we will need to pop in a couple of lines of code. Now, for me, I have this ready-made. I'm just going to drop this in here, but I'll talk you through it. So we have the applications. You can have more than one. So if you wanted to spin up more than one Cloud Foundry application, then you can do so just like this. You just sort of write, again, from this dash downwards, you just write name, roots, memory, build pack, etc. So for here, let's just create a unique name for your application. This is what it's going to be called in Cloud Foundry. So I'm going to do my initials, LTH, GitHub, actions, demo. No. So then I'm going to use this name again, and I'm actually going to specify my root, and I'm going to put it in here. So now we've got LCH GitHub actions -demo dot your chosen domain. Now to find your IBM Cloud domain, or the domains available to you, there is again, once you've logged in, we can go and find it through the CLI. And what you do is IBM Cloud CF domains. This will invoke the endpoint and it will return all of the possible domains that you can use on the end of your Cloud Foundry application. So I'm just going to be, I don't know, choose one of these. I will just choose this one here. I'll use eu-gb.mybluemix.net and I'll just replace it into here. And I will save this file, make sure there's no sort of overhanging spaces or anything like that. The memory is 128 megabytes. Now this is important to remember because in the light tier accounts you only get up to a certain amount of memory. I think just for this demo I'm not going to need any more than 128 megabytes, and because I'm using Golang I am going to be using the Go build pack. Again, just change this to fit your needs. So this could be Node build pack or Python, etc. I'm sure you get the point for that one. Fantastic, so save that one. That is a YAML file, so yep, just make sure there's no overhanging spaces or any weird indents from the copy and paste. Then what we need to do is we then need to go and push that up into IBM Cloud. Okay, so once we have saved this file here, we are going to push this to IBM Cloud Foundry, but there's one thing I completely forgot to mention and completely forgot to do earlier. I have just realized that we are in the wrong directory. This needs to actually be on my Go path. So what I'm going to do is move this across. So we are going to do a, let's cd out of this one. Ooh. And we want to move, to GitHub actions, and we want to move that folder across to, I'm going to put it into my Go path. So let's do source. From here, we want to do github.com, and I want to do from there. Yeah, I'll put it in there. Fantastic. So this is all gone now. So we will just reopen this one up in code again from its new path. So I'm just going to quickly do that in my terminal over here. Fantastic. Cool. So welcome back to this one. I did not mean to do that. I totally apologize. That was not part of the demo. So what we can do here is go mod init and go mod tidy. This is just a package manager and type. This is just a package manager in Go. So now what we can do is we can actually do the IBM Cloud. We can now push this to IBM Cloud Foundry using this command here, IBM Cloud CF push -f flag for the manifest, or to specify the file, and then we're going to specify the manifest YAML file. So if we hit that one there, this should invoke Cloud Foundry inside IBM Cloud, and it should start to push our application up there. Amazing. So now that has finished, what we can do, we can actually go and see it. It's deployed itself to IBM Cloud Foundry, and using the route that we requested, we can now go and visit that in a browser. So that is exactly what we'll do. We'll copy and paste this one into this one here. So that it was running on localhost 8080. Paste this one into here. it is now running on IBM Cloud Foundry. So this is now not localhost, this is running on Cloud Foundry, and that is how you manually push to IBM Cloud. So it's quite quick and pretty painless actually. But what if we want to go and automate the deployment? So say you make a code change and then you push to the main branch. You don't want to have to go off and then redeploy this manually. You want to go off and have it do it itself. We can do that. We can do that with GitHub Actions. So if we come straight back over to the repository, what we can do is we can then click on Settings. From Settings, we can then scroll down to Secrets, or find out on Secrets on the left-hand side. As you can see here, there's no repository secrets. So we can actually log into IBM Cloud in multiple ways. We can do it the way I did, with a federated ID with SSO, so single sign-on, or we can use an API key. There's a number of ways. You can use it in your sort of username and password if you want to. But for this, we need to use the API key. So we're going to click New Repository Secret, and I'm going to call it IBM. Oh, I've already done it before. So IBM Cloud API key. Pretty cool name, pretty safe, pretty memorable. And from here, this is where we need to now add in the API key that we got earlier, or that we created earlier at the very beginning of the tutorial. So I'll paste this in here. This will be deleted, so even if you try and copy it, it won't work. We're going to add that to the repository. Now we cannot see that anymore. It's up there, it's in there, and we can use that. It's now available for us. So now what we want to do is we want to actually go and create a new folder in here, and it needs to be in the root of the directory. And the root of the folder, we actually want to create a new folder called .github. So let's do mkdir and then .github. And that should now pop over there in the project directory. So let's go into .github itself, this one, and then we want to create another folder called workflows. And then we want to cd into workflows. Now this is where the YAML file, or your build file, will run for GitHub Actions. So in here, let's create a new file, and we're going to call it main cf push yml. Spit those words out. Fantastic. So now if we open up this folder over here and open up, it is empty. Okay, so we haven't put anything to it. And again, this is where I'm just going to cut and paste some more code, because this is going to be quite a painful one to try and type out. It's quite long, but it's in the repository. It's available for everybody, and I will walk through it. Do not worry. I will go through each line of this with you. So let's just get rid of this one. So let's start at the top. We've got the name. We're just going to call it Build and Deploy to IBM Cloud Foundry. And then is the webhook. So on every push, and then we're going to specify the branches, and we're just going to say onto the main branch. You could specify a development branch, a build branch, anything like that. This is where you can put it. And it will just say on each commit or each push, you can have commit if you like, then run this workflow. In here, we've got the environment variables. So like I did earlier, I've got the IBM Cloud region, which I've set to EUGB. I've got my group, which is default. I've got my cloud space, which is dev. And then you have your IBM Cloud org. So my org is IBM Cloud account org. And there we go. We can find my org, and it is the name. So I will just pop that in here. I almost forgot that one actually. So let's go straight back through that again. So we've got all our environment variables. We're going to say for the defaults, we're just going to run. So the working directory for the project is the root directory. The jobs is everything that I want to run. So in this instance, I want a build job to run, and I want it to install. I want to install Go. So we're going to be using the Go version 1.16. This is actually, I think, a ready-made container in GitHub. We're going to install the dependencies. So go lint, Go version. I want it to print out the version, and I want it to echo out or install any other dependencies that you have for your application. Next, we then want to build the application. So you can build this by doing go build, go install, any one of those commands, and what it will do is it will create a binary ready for release. We're not actually going to do that step in this one, but I've put it in here anyway, just so you can, just so it's easier for you to create one. Then you want the vet and the lint. You can probably have go format as well in here, but I have not got that. I'm just doing go vet and go lint. Next, we actually want to run the tests. I haven't actually made any tests for this one, so I'm just going to delete that one and pretend that didn't happen. Final stage is the deploy stage, and this is just like what we've done in the terminal when we manually pushed it, except this time we are going to use the API key, and using the API key we can pull from the environment variables. So we're installing the CLI, we're installing the plugin, we log into IBM Cloud, and then we target Cloud Foundry, and then we deploy using a manifest file. It's actually pretty seamless. It's pretty seamless. So now what we want to do is upload this to Git. Add workflow. And let's push this to our main branch. So now what we can see is if we go into the GitHub Actions, here we can see it has actually started to kick off the workflow. And we'll wait for this to complete. This may take a second. And as you can see, it actually failed. So what we can do is we can jump into here and go and quickly see what happened. So where did it fail? Let's go to, okay, so we failed on the go vet and lint. Okay. So that failed, and the deploy stage failed. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to quickly go and tidy those errors up, and I will whiz back into this one again in a second. Okay, so that just happened to be a little bit of a typo, which I will make sure I fix in the Git repository. See, these things are always good when you run through them, not so good when they fail when you don't expect them to. So we can just jump into this one here. We can see that all of the steps that we outlined in our YAML file are outlined in here. And again, for the deploy job over here, we can just see that it has deployed it. It's going to deploy the application to IBM Cloud Foundry, just like you saw in the terminal when we did it manually. And again, it is on the same route, so we can just go over here and ta-da. So let's just prove that this works with a change, shall we? So if we jump back into our main function and we just say, hello everybody, and save that file. We can then do a git add, we can just do a commit, and then we'll push that into the main branch, and then we can see this go off and kick off another job. So what this will do is it will, like we just saw before, it will go off into the workflows. Oh, for some reason, there we go. We look on the actions, there we go, it's kicked off another one there, so another workflow, and we'll just wait for that one to finish, and then we'll go and see what it's done. Brilliant. And as we can see here, the workflow has completed. It has pushed another copy to IBM Cloud Foundry, and all we can do to go and check that out is just visit our route. It's not a new route, it is the existing route. Just reload that one, and there we can see it. And that, everybody, is how you push your application to IBM Cloud Foundry and use GitHub Actions to automatically deploy using a pipeline. Thank you ever so much for watching and listening.